Hello, Army West Point fans. Thank you for joining us for another ArmySports.com podcast. We've got Scout.com Academy football analyst Jim Lawler on the line to discuss Army's preseason practice. Last time we discussed the Black Knight offense. This time we'll switch our attention to the defense. Jim, first off, the team suffered a devastating loss of two starters due to a fight a couple of weeks ago. How hard do you think it'll be for this team to overcome that?
Well, I think, it seems to be Army type of luck where you have, not only do you have a fight between teammates, but you end up having the best player of the team get sent to the hospital with a serious head injury. And he's potentially in Josh Jenkins, our cornerback. He's going to be probably lost for, if not the whole season, definitely part of the season because of his head trauma he suffered. And the guy who hit him was Nate Combs' brother, Seth Combs, who actually won the rush linebacker job this spring. So you basically you have a bad defense losing two starters and its best players. So things couldn't have gotten worse from that standpoint. We're gonna have. It looks like I think they're gonna basically have Chris Carnegie move over to the boundary spot, and they'll probably just have elevated Carnegie's backup, Stephen Johnson, who played safety last year and struggled at safety. They'll move him to cornerback. I always thought Johnson had better skill set. I wrote it in our incoming series when he first came from the prep school, and I thought he was more of a cornerback than a safety because I don't think he was good enough tackler to be a safety. But I do think he had some ability, but let's be honest, he's not Josh Jenkins, and that it really hurts. It takes away a strength of the team, and that the quarterbacks were two of the best positions on the team on the defense, and we lose that. And then at linebacker, we basically have the backup who lost Alex Ackerman becomes the starter, and he was beaten out by Combs. So again, it's just the bad luck of the run of bad luck and problems that the Army has faced over the last couple of years. They just can't seem to catch a break.
Yeah, I know one thing that concerned me too is that they made concessions to the football team to allow them to do more practice and stuff or work out in the preseason, when they're supposed to be going off and doing training. And instead, they're doing that, which is a good thing, but then they're also apparently having more free time on their hand and getting in fights and stuff. So hopefully they'll address that and keep these guys busy so they don't have time to get in fights and stuff like that. But Jim, the team lost a bunch of seniors too to graduation. What are your other thoughts on the Army defense?
Well, two things. The first is, let's be honest, even though they lost 5 of the 7 starters up front, they do return the 2 best players, and Jeremy Timp and Andrew King, inside linebacker. It is a concern, though, the fact that, Army defense wasn't very good last year. They were allowing 5.3 yards per rush. But then the big key for going forward is to see how much they can improve and how against the run. Up front, they only have really one proven player. Not even proven, but a real talented player in John Boyd, who was the MVP at the prep school a couple of years ago. He played well. He took some of Joe Drummond's snaps last year, who was a pretty decent player himself. And I really like John. I think he do well, but I think the big key for the team is how is PJ Atamala at nose tackle, how he's going to play, because the key for a nose tackle on a 3-4 is to sort of either get penetration or cover both of the A gaps and keep the legs of the inside linebackers free. And PJ has he's been a disappointment, to be honest. He really hasn't made many plays. He's been given some starting assignments. He's been unable to shoot gaps, and he finds himself often neutralized by bigger offensive linemen because he's short, So he had a good spring. Andrew McLean, his backup, who I liked a lot a couple of years ago at the prep school, he's hurt. So really we have 2 plebes behind him right now. Raymond Wright is direct commit. Correll Davis, who I talked about as a nose tackle in the incoming series, that I think it's going to be probably coming out in the next week or so as we switch over the defense. I think he's a good player, but again, he's a plebe, so it's really key for TJ to do a good job up front to allow Tiff and King to make some plays as far as on the inside. The good news, though, I tell you, one thing to be positive about for Army fans is they put in a lot of young players that I really like. I mean, they put in like 16 linebackers. And there's a lot of guys that really impressed me last year at the prep school. And then the big one was the new three-star recruit, Kenneth Brinson. He's definitely lived up to his press clippings on Pentagon. He's looked really good during camp. Taylor Holt, I really like. He's a playmaker at outside linebacker. Cole Mason is a nice inside linebacker. He gives us a little bit more depth there. So I really think that going forward, I like the fact that the talent level is there, and more importantly, the depth that we are missing under Ellison. We also recruited some decent players, but it was only like 1 or 2 deep, and if we lost a couple in the prep school, we just didn't have enough players. So I think from this standpoint, Monken has done a nice job upgrading the talent level, but it's hard. You're not going to win with plebes. It's just not. Like I said, the defense is going to struggle a little bit this year. I do think safety, Ryan England, should be a lot better than he was last year. He struggled last year, but I thought Ryan really got a short stick last year. He was sort of thrown in the deep end of the pool. He was actually a slot back on offense. He was a direct commit, so he's a plebe, and he's playing offense like half the year, and all of a sudden he was like an all-state defensive back. So they really struggling at safety after Jeff Bacon got hurt. So they moved him over to safety, and not surprisingly, not really knowing the scheme and learning everything, he started really struggled. But I tell you, John, he's played really well this spring. He's really lifted his game. And another interesting move was Xavier Moss volunteered to move from wide receiver after he had after a really nice plebe year. He struggled a little bit as a sophomore. He didn't get a lot of balls thrown his way, so he switched over to defense. And he's done a nice job, So, and again, there were a couple of really nice, like Gibby Gibson is a nice-looking direct commit recruit. So I think Jeff Monken's staff has done a really nice job upgrading the talent and the depth there. But it's a very young defense. Same thing, similar to what we talked about with the offense. I don't think it's a winning team or a bowl team, but I think finally, there's some people and parts to build around. So I'm sort of excited about seeing how the team meshes. I think they're going to struggle. I think Army's like a 4-win team this year, but I think we're finally building towards something rather than just having a bad team without having a lot of hope or a lot of optimism. I think next year with some of the because a lot of the inside linebackers return next year, and I think as we get more and more of these guys, more competition and more experience, I think this year we'll have some growing pains, but I think next year we could build towards actually being a lot better defensive team and a lot better a winning football team.
Jim, thanks so much for joining us on ArmySports.com. Army fans, thank you too, and be sure to join us for our next podcast when we discuss the 2015 Army football team.